Okay, we're ready, I think. Emma's behind the camera again. I tried to get her in front of the camera, but it's always tricky. I wanted her to introduce her two aunts. So I am Aunt Rosalind to Emma when I'm off camera and not doing Mike and me. And this is Aunt Patty, who's from Fairbanks, Alaska, and really fun to have her down with me. She was really significant during Mike's last months, and last year she came down 6 times. Incredible. So anyway, Patty has a little story she wants to share with you, and then I've asked her to share another story at another time. So you're on, Patty.
Well, my story is about a book club. I started a neighborhood book club quite a few years ago, and it's just women, of course, and we read all kinds of books. And after Rosalind published Mike and Me, I came to my book club with a copy and said, I wonder if we'd like to read the book. And they all said yes. I found out later that some of them were a little reluctant to read it, but they agreed, probably because I organized the book club. And so we read it, and then we came back at the end of a month, and everybody was just glowing with enthusiasm about this as a book club book. And nobody's lives were in the circumstance where they were a care partner with anybody, but people loved the storyline. They got tips out of it that they could use in their current relationships. And for me, I'm always renewed about how I handle my marriage and things that come up in my marriage. I just go back to those tips about, do a gentle startup on this one. So I just find it a really good read. So we always do thumbs up, thumbs halfway, thumbs down. Everybody was a real fast thumbs up. But one woman in particular then revealed how she felt about saying yes to reading this book. She said, oh my gosh, what if I don't like it? Am I going to give it a thumbs down? And it's Rosalind's, Patty's sister. I don't know. But everybody was really enthused about it. And then the poignant part to me for the book club was that later, that particular woman had a husband who was quite a bit older than she is, and he came down with a progressive degenerative disease. And he was at home, and she was able to care for him for a couple of years, and he died at home. And her life changed a lot then, and she's not living in the neighborhood as much now, but we never had a chance to really follow it up and say, how much did this book help you? But what I know is that she took in the information, and it became her own, and she applied it when the circumstance became necessary for her to be a care partner. So I often think of the book as something that's a resource that people can go to when they're in the situation, and they can go and look up how do you take care of giving up the keys or certain circumstances. What do you do about major events? But what I felt the book club did was it gave people a reservoir. It gave them a bank that they could draw on later, and then they can always go back to the book.
Right.
But it just gave them some skills, and it gave them insight to a beautiful love story. So I really recommend this, and so does my book club, as a book to read in a book club, even if you're not in the caring situation at that moment.
Thank you. I have to say Patty was an inspiration because then I suggested it to my book club, which you might expect they'd give me good reviews. But other than that, there's been 2 or 3 different book clubs that have used it, not far-reaching, hasn't been discovered on that level, but I would say each of those book clubs have been very positive. It brings up conversations and discussions that people never would have thought of having, thinking about end of life and how you would feel about being a caregiver in that situation. And it's a book that works very well for a book club. So that's it for now. Thanks, Emma.